Yeah. Boom to the hail, you sports fans out there in the tubosphere. To you, the individual, as part of the collective. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Track Highlights here on Talk Radio version of the OMSR. I am your brief but concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Throw. Always do a little show like this, let you know the clip order coming up and the whys and wherefores. Plus a quickie sport rant of the segment. All the video highlights courtesy to ESPN and The Herd, with Colin, everything else to the OMSR. Talking briefly and concisely about the Knicks and Phil Jackson, or is it Phil Jackson and the Knicks? Who's taking the lead here? Press conference. So on the quickie sport rant of the segment, Colin has definitely been anti this situation since it first came about. Those shows are back on the channel. On the Monday morning quarterbacking segment or playlist. But seeing Phil so well spoken off the cuff, I'd like to think the OMSR is like that at times as well. I mean, the legalese things that are said, they are always said on every show, and they always come out a little bit differently. It's mostly 90% unscripted. He's very well spoken. His philosophy, and I would submit to you that, if you listen to the OMSR long enough, you'd start hearing like a little mini Phil Jackson at 6'3.5" of Taoism. Same thing going on there. He is going to have a positive effect. So I think Colin, not having been privy to these meetings and not much news having come out of them, you could sort of see, from what I was hearing, the way Colin was presenting or characterizing this potential situation, the James Dolan dude with the beard has made things or presented hurdles, created hurdles, is somewhat intractable in his position. You better believe Phil's going to change that, and you can see that in this press conference. It's going to, the Knicks are going to probably maybe win 10 in a row with this new infusion of energy. All right, that's what's coming up. Thanks for watching. Those silly DUIs while you're out there. Roll clips.
James Dolan. I imagine a PR guy will speak first. Oh, those guys can't get off the podium fast enough. James Dolan, about 1.5 feet shorter than Phil Jackson. They're both holding a basketball. It's a photo op. Phil's smiling. Blue suit, white shirt, right strap tie. He looks young. Phil looks young, doesn't he? For 68, he looks very tall and very young. So I want you to hear. I want to give you the actual audio from New York City right now. It's photo op time. Dolan has a very, very hot and cold relationship with the New York media. Probably the most criticized owner in New York City. Here we go. This is a new era. It's really interesting. It does remind me of Notre Dame football getting a new coach. It just feels big. Despite the relative lack of success for the Knicks. And let's be honest, New York sports right now is Death Valley.
I also understand the concerns that we have not made ourselves available to you about the team's current issues or our plans. The reason for that was because we were working on an answer. We feel that nothing we could have said would have helped. We're here today because a mutual friend of mine and Phil's, Irving Azop, invited the two of us to a party at his home back in December. Thank you, Irving. And if this doesn't go well, we'll blame you, okay? But I know it will. That night, Phil and I met and talked for several hours and agreed that we should talk again. While it was clear that Phil wasn't going to coach again, we were both intrigued by the idea of him working in a larger role with the Knicks. Over the past couple of months, I've really gotten to know Phil. His love and passion for New York, the Garden, and the Knicks, that is clear. Also clear was his willingness to pick up and move across the country to give his full attention to building a winning team here in New York. Once we both understood the possibilities, we had several more meetings, including some with Steve. It was important to me that Steve and Phil would be able to work together. The three of us have spent a lot of time discussing strategy, philosophy, and culture. Phil has a vision for the Knicks that I know will put us on the path to success, and Steve has great abilities as general manager. In his role as president, Phil will be in charge of all basketball decisions. Steve, as general manager, will support his efforts to build a consistently winning franchise. Just a word about Steve. When I called him in September to come back to MSG, he jumped in before the season and has since then been working tirelessly to make us better. Steve brings an incredible passion and decades of experience to his role with the Knicks and wants more than anyone for this team to be successful for New York and for our fans.
Well, thank you all for coming out. It's an auspicious beginning, to say the least. I don't have prepared remarks, as you can see. I'm shooting from the cuff, and I have some things to say that I think are important for the fans to hear. We want to build a team, and a team doesn't have an I in it. We've used that expression a few times as coaches, but this is a franchise that developed a team back in the 60s that was consistently playing team basketball for 7, 8 years, which some of the teammates that we have over here can attest to, and also a couple championships that we have. The idea of developing a culture is an overwrought word in the NBA right now, but that's the cachet, I think, that brought me here. That there are things I believe that players should have that's important for them. They should have the security of knowing that they're going to be supported by the organization and coaching staff. It's a very tenuous world, as it is to be a player. And so putting yourself on the line, you need to have that support. This is something we want to build for them. We want to build also some things that are very important to basketball players, developing a health record in which injuries are limited, developing a mindset in which focus is a capability, developing the system so that balls are moved and passes are made and people make cuts to create open opportunities for teammates. These are things that are important to me. I know you all know about the vaulted triangle offense, and it's been maligned in the past few years, but I believe in system basketball. Steve Mills came out of Princeton. I came out of a system that we ran here in New York in which team ball was an important aspect of playing, and we believe that's what we want to get accomplished as we go forward from here. I'll be accessible. I'm going to be removed. Things are important. I want to develop relationships with people here. This organization has suffered in the past few years from things I think have just been created by press, by lack of continuity, by lack of solidarity. So there's going to be some closed walls as far as media and as far as things that go on, and I think we have to accept that. But I'm reaching out to you today, the media people, to say we're going to have an open relationship and we're going to have a good one. We need your support, and the fans need a positive atmosphere in which to come and enjoy the game, and the players need a positive atmosphere in which to play. And I think that's an important thing about coming to this team and developing that. I'll be visiting the team this week before the game on Wednesday against Indiana. I've had a conversation with Mike Woodson supporting him and going forward to try and make the playoffs this year. The team has had a little run. We're anticipating it's going to be a good one, and they'll get into the playoffs. As we go forward, we have a great chance and a great opportunity. This is the best place to play basketball. When Red Holzman picked me up at Kennedy Airport in 1967 as a senior in college and drove in on Memorial Weekend, he had his wife Selma in the back with a couple of lampshades, and he said, you know, you got to make 2-for-1 trips when you go into Manhattan. He was in a convertible, and as we got through the Van Wyck, some kid leaned over the top of a walkway and threw a rock down on his window and cracked his window in his brand new Impala. And he looked up and he said, you know, New York's not the easiest place to live, but if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's where the phrase started, I swear. That's where it came about. So we're going to make it here, and we ask your support and appreciate it. Thank you. From there on, you know, we'll just take a step at a time as we go forward.
Okay, Bud Mishkin.
Phil, you've always been known as an independent type who will speak his mind. For the last decade or so, the mantra here, unspoken or spoken, is pretty much the less said, the better. How do these two seemingly opposite cultures coexist?
Well, I'll try to monitor my blabbermouth, as my fiance Jeannie Buss says. That's gotten me a number of fines from the league office. I certainly don't want to get any more of those. But no, I really will hopefully have an open attitude towards speaking. But yet knowing that this is a position where at one time when I was asked if I ever wanted to be a general manager, I said, I hate prevarication. It's a term I don't like. And to prevaricate is something I don't want to have to do as a general manager. I'll leave that job up to Steve. I'm going to not lie, to tell you the truth, as president.
My takeaway was, generally in press conferences, as corporate as it gets, the reality is there's 2 or 3 times when the truth comes out. Phil said, I believe in system basketball. I didn't think that was particularly a shot at Carmelo, but it is sort of an obvious note toward system over individual star. He also talked about building relationships with people here. There will be some closed doors with the media. So he acknowledges Dolan's brutal with that, and the Knicks have a horrible reputation with the press. But he talked almost giving a little caveat, hey, I'm here, I'm open, there'll be limitations, but let's build a relationship, let's give me a chance here. He also said I have a big impact with the authority I've been given. Again, making it very clear, going after all the issues that James Dolan has had. Media, discussed. Impact on authority, that's what Jerry Colangelo and Donnie Walsh were not given. That's why Colangelo wouldn't take the job and Donnie Walsh took it and then jettisoned for Indiana. All the things he talked about were things that just hover over the franchise. There was also a bite. He talked about Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony is the star of the franchise and really the only sellable commodity at this point. And he talked about Carmelo Anthony.
There's no doubt about Carmelo being one of the top scorers in the league, maybe the best individual isolation players in the game. I have no problems with committing to saying Carmelo's in the future plans. I think that, you know, there are a number of things I see Carmelo doing as he moves forward, and I said, I think I was on record a year ago that I think Carmelo, as great a player as he is, still has another level he can go to. And I hope together with the team we create, he can get there.
Okay, again, what does Phil do? He enlightens, he empowers, he listens, he takes MJ, took him to another level, winning, Kobe, playing with others, Shaq, building relationships, not critical of his teammates. So opening the door for what Phil does, which is taking really talented people, therapists to the stars, and just tweaking them and taking them to another level.